Can't get my, hang on a second. There, get the zoom right. Man, I did not mix that up enough at all. We're going to have to test this really good before we use it. Make sure it gets all mixed up. All right, we're going to let that mix up for a while. Test it in a bit while we do some other stuff here. Oh well, night core. I'm just doing some weekend maintenance here on the aquarium system. So I'm doing some water changes. Going to scrub some of the algae out of the aquariums. We're just mixing up some salt water right now so we can get started. That is what we are doing this morning. I'm not talking as much as I typically do, guys. If you have any questions, just throw them in the chat. What do I house? You can see here we got the frag systems. So all these aquariums are all filled with coral. So we're going to be working on this system a little bit later. But this is all the frag system, and then out here in the other room we got the main tank. I'll show you. We'll be working on this system here first. So that's what we're doing. We're just doing some aquarium maintenance. Thanks for asking. We'll get back to it here. Is this my job or is this homework? It's actually kind of both. So, I mean, started as a hobby. I had a coral business called C&M Aquatics where I was shipping coral everywhere. And then COVID hit, kind of destroyed it, you know. But recently I've gotten in contact with a local guy who is starting a new business, and I'm going to start farming coral for him. We've already got a bunch of stuff in. But I'm basically going to be growing it for him, and then he's going to be doing the selling. So we'll see how it goes. I just enjoy doing it. It's kind of, I guess you would call it my therapy, my hobby, you know. Just something I enjoy doing, man. All right. Keep on top of some of my mess here. Go turn this Kessel light on and see what we got to do with the main system. We'll start scrubbing some algae here. Fun, right? I know. Let's see. First things first is kill all my flow. We're going to see how working around this light's going to be. I think it's going to be kind of a pain in the butt. Okay. go ahead and get our protein skimmer while we're down here. Get it cleaned up. All this nasty gunk inside. That's what you want. I like to get these things super clean. I don't think it's necessary. I just like clean stuff. All right. I get excited over clean protein skimmer collection cups. Guess that makes me a weirdo. Okay, let's grab our towels. Let's go ahead and take our big towels out. Why do I still have water flowing here, circulating? It should be off. Still got a power head on somewhere. See, it's, why do I have power on still? Oh, let's see. That doesn't make any sense. I should be off. Let's see. I need to figure out. I don't know why this power head's on. Where's it plugged in at? Okay. There. Let's see what that does. I might have to reroute that. This sump down here, you can see with the power shut off, my water level has risen to here. So I got like an inch at the top of the sump. If the power goes out, I'm not super happy with that. I'd like to have more of a buffer there. I'm going to turn this, I know it looks blue on the camera, but this white light on to try and get some of this algae out. All right, let's start scrubbing. Little clownfish down here. I'm about to disturb them. You gotta get your home clean, guys. Now I'm really focusing on cleaning this back wall here, getting all this gunk off. L's night core, yeah. I can't see my chat unless I come back to the back room. So if you're still sticking around, the coral is essentially used for like the home aquarist, you know, people who have aquariums in their home. You know, we'll farm it and grow it and cut it and propagate it, and then people will buy it, you know, off the website and then put it into their home aquariums and grow it and just enjoy the hobby. So that's the whole kind of purpose behind it. What I did for my full-time job when I was working, I'm retired now, I was a firefighter. You can see on that wall. But yeah, I try to stay relaxed, man. I try to just enjoy what I do, you know. Take it slow, just enjoy the process. That's what I try to do. Right now, I'm trying to clean this power head off. This light's not working out great either. Keeps getting in the way. This tank's actually, my phosphates are low. I need to get my phosphates back up. I am fighting this green hair algae right now on the rocks until everything gets balanced out. I keep adding some snails and hermit crabs, you know, better cleanup crew. It seems to be helping, but it's just going to take a little time to get all this gunk out of the system. Just need to clean off some of the rocks here and then siphon the sand bed mainly in this tank. And then a little siphoning in the frag systems in the back as well. I'm guessing about 2 hours worth of work today. I gotta figure this camera angle out thing, this camera thing too. We got our, you can see this guy right here. It's hard to see our Duncan. We got a little Duncan in here. We ate it this week. I'm hoping him and this moonstone coral get along. They don't fight too much. We'll keep an eye on them and see what they do. So I tried it like around the base of the corals here. I try to keep that clean so that they can encrust across the rock. If there's a lot of algae buildup or detritus, they tend to not want to encrust over that. So try to keep the rocks around the coral clean so that they encrust better. Okay. Let's see if we can get the back wall here. It is really hard filming just trying to do this. It was your birthday, Nightcore? Well, happy late birthday. I hope it was a good one. Yeah, I am. I'm pretty meticulous about keeping the power heads clean. If they get all gunked up, it does affect your flow in the aquarium. I read a good article on that once. I want to say it said like, dirty power heads and wave makers can contribute up to like 50% of flow reduction in the system, which is pretty significant, especially if you're keeping a lot of like SPS corals that need a lot of flow. I like to really try to keep all the power heads clean. I'll take them out every few months and soak them in some RODI water with it's just like white vinegar, distilled white vinegar. Let them soak for a couple hours, and then that really helps loosen up all the coralline algae deposits and algae and whatnot on them, so that you can clean them, get them really clean inside and out. I'll take them fully apart. Okay. Should have done the glass first. That was dumb. This back corner is really hard to get to. Yeah, the sand bed's gotten kind of nasty here. We're going to siphon it really well. Look at all that gunk coming off there. Oh, that algae is finally starting to die, I think, and now it's coming off the rock, which is what we want. It's been a process, though. If you're doing this with a toothbrush in your aquarium, around the corals, just really take your time. You don't be bumping into stuff, breaking stuff off. Just really take your time with it. It's the best advice I can give you here. It's a marathon, not a fast race, Okay. Let's do the glass we forgot to do first. I really like to keep the glass clean. With clean glass, you tend to, I don't know why, stay up on your maintenance better. If the aquarium looks pretty and it's nice to look at, you can observe the corals better. You can monitor their health better. So I'm real big on just trying to keep the glass clean all the time. Plus, you just enjoy the aquarium much more. I'm very pleased with how this little tank turned out. I did a whole video on it, but this tank is attached into the sump of this tank. I'm very pleased with it. The one thing that I kind of overlooked when I built it is how close it is to the other aquarium here. So I really can't get my magnet scraper in between the two glass panes, you know, to clean it. So I got to get in there and do it by hand. That's one of the big flaws with the system when I designed it, but it's manageable. Overall, I'm pretty happy with how this little thing turned out. All right, I think we're ready to start taking some water out. We need to check on our salt water too. Let's go check on that real quick. Using the Hanna salinity tester, which is awesome. I don't calibrate it enough, but it is nice to have. Okay. Let's see what our salt reading is. I'm guessing it's going to be a little low. So with this thing, instead of using, you know, like your typical hydrometer, the salinity checker has 2 probes and you get a digital readout on the salinity and the temperature, which is really nice. So I am sitting at 1.025 right now. That is exactly where we want it. So that batch of water is ready to go. So our salt water is ready. I think we're ready to start taking water out of the system. Let me get a drink of water here. All right, let's get some buckets, and I think I'm only going to siphon out 10 gallons today, just enough to siphon the sand bed. My phosphates in this system are still coming back low or close to 0, so I don't want to do too much of a water change. We're trying to balance it all out. All right. Zoom back out so you guys can see it. All right. Let's start getting some of this water out. Nightcore, thank you. I appreciate it. This is just your typical siphon tube, which is nice. They have a check valve in here, so you can start a siphon without sucking on the end of the tube. I'm a pretty big proponent of water changes, especially at the regular hobbyist level. trying not to break this monopore here. Yeah, I think we're only going to do 10 gallons today on this one. Do this side of the tank and then should be ready to fill it back up. Trying to get a siphon. There we go. Last time I did this, I broke off a big chunk of this Passivapora, so I'm going to try not to do that this time. If you guys get sand like that going up your overflow tube, you just got to kill the flow, let it break up, or else you'll suck up all your substrate. I do attribute water changes to part of my success with this. For you guys that don't know, we do water changes to lower, take waste out of the system, like your nitrates and phosphates. And then the salt has trace elements and calcium, magnesium, alkalinity, things like that that the corals use to grow to form their skeletons. So it kind of replenishes the good stuff as well. And if you don't have a huge coral load, you can keep a tank going just with your water changes. You don't have to dose things, until you reach that point. You can maintain it for a long time with just water changes. You don't need all the fancy equipment. If you stay up on top of your maintenance, it can be done. Keep it simple. I try to keep it simple whenever I can. All right, I think that's pretty good. Let's see, we shouldn't need this siphon hose again. I got all these pallies back here ready to go. This is the quarantine tank that I'm using for overflow right now. All right, let's go dump our buckets and we will put water back in the system. I'm not going to clean these things too good because we're going to use them back here on the frag system. Okay, we checked our salinity already in our mixing station, and it was at 1.025, so we are good to go with that. I got this garden hose up here that's plumbed into the mixing station, so essentially all I got to do is flip the recirculating valve, turn on the hose, and then I can pull this garden hose out to the aquarium and fill it back up, which is, this system has turned out really nice. For my purposes anyway. All right. So we just pull our hose straight out to the other room. We're ready to fill up the aquarium again. I love that. So make sure my ATO is unplugged. All right. I typically like to fill it out of the sump once the water level goes down a little so I don't disturb everything. We'll start filling up here because I'm impatient today. I like to try to take the nozzle when I'm refilling the tank and just try to really blow off some of the bigger corals, really get water down, you know, in the colony. Because this guy, the bottom part of this Pocillopora has died off and he's just collecting algae like crazy. Let me see if I can get this under there, blow him off a little bit. I'm blowing the sand bed around. Blow out whatever loose stuff I can here. I'm going to let my sump catch up a little bit so I don't overfill the system. Which means I get to take a little break here for a minute. We should be getting water back into the sump here in a minute. Any second. There we go. I can hear it. Let's get our collection cup for our protein skimmer and get everything running again. Okay. Where's my toothbrush at? I want to clean this skimmer out a little bit while I'm here. All right, that should be ready to power up. Get our flow back on. Okay. Check our power heads, make sure everything came back on. All right, I think we're good. I think we are good to go to the back. Turn our sump light off. I typically run the sump lights opposite of the display. So during the day when the display's on, the sump will be off. And then at night when the display's off, the sump will be on. And what that does, it's believed to help keep the pH more stable in the aquarium, running opposite cycles like that. Whether that's true or not, I don't 100% know. That's just kind of what I've always done. So that's what I'll keep doing. Let's do our glass. When you guys are spraying glass cleaner, I typically will spray it onto the rag. Hang on a second. Excuse me. Excuse me. Another little tip for you. Spray it onto the rag. Don't spray it onto the glass. Because if I spray it onto the glass, then I get little particles of Windex floating through the air that end up in, you know, the top off tank in the aquarium. So by staying away from the aquarium and spraying the rag first, you keep it out of the system. I guess. I mean, it makes sense to me. That's why I do it that way. I think I got salt in my nose, making me sneeze. All right, when the lights kick back on, this thing's going to look really nice. Get this little guy while we're here. Go watch the video I did on this little tank setting it up. I just set it up maybe 3 weeks ago or so. But I did a video on the build of it, and I think it turned out really nice. I'm very happy with it overall. It looks like, I think I'm going to call it Mini-Me because it looks like a little miniature version of the big system. But I'm real happy with how it turned out. All right. I think we're moving to the back now. Do some work back here and call it a day. Okay. Let's mop up our mess. This is just this is a Kessel aquarium light. I typically use it for when I'm doing like the reef photography. I use it as a spotlight because it's got and the reason why it works really well for a photography light is it's got these dials. So you can adjust not just the brightness and intensity of the light, but you can adjust the spectrum. So you have less white light and more blue light. And that really comes in handy for when you're photographing, doing photography on corals. I'll probably do I'll live stream like a photography session so that people can kind of see everything that goes into it, because especially the macro shots, it takes a lot of setup to get those good close pictures. Clean up some of our mess as we go so we don't have as much to do later. Okay. We'll go put this light back. We're done with it for now. Okay. Where do we want to start back here? Let me just make sure I got everything on the main system before we move on. I just like to triple check just to make sure everything's going properly before we move on. I'll come back and get the filter sock at the end. We'll swap all those out. Leave my doors open so I don't forget. All right. Moving on to the back. We'll go ahead and shut all our flow off. We turn off the protein skimmer and the media reactor. We'll be good to go. All right. We'll start with the skimmer. These, I'll tell you what, eShops, the brand that makes this skimmer, look at this SkimMate. This is one of the best protein skimmers I have ever owned. This system here is roughly from here down the hallway. It's a 400-gallon system. And my phosphates are at 0 right now. I'm trying to get them up, but I got this skimmer dialed in, and it is awesome. Look at all that gunk. eShops makes incredible skimmers. And it's stinky, so you know it's doing its job. If you've ever smelled, we'll say a rotting corpse covered in fecal matter, that's exactly what this smells like. Look at all this nastiness. Yep, there is a lot of work that goes into doing this, but I don't consider it work. If you truly enjoy doing something, it's not work. It's actually my therapy. So I guess thank you for joining me for my therapy session today. I like to keep these things real nice and clean. Because any gunk that I get out of the collection thing here, cup, is gunk that is not going back into my system. Like I said before, I get excited over clean protein skimmers. That officially, I guess, makes me a weirdo. And that is one clean collection cup. All right. So I got the same issue with, no, that light's off. I got the same issue with the system as the system out front. My phosphates are down low. Test it Friday. Yeah, they just register as low, so I need to get my phosphates up a little bit. Phosphates are basically broken down organic material in the water, like fish poop, fish food, waste, things like that. And the corals use the phosphates and nitrates to help them grow. It's like fertilizer. Think of it as like fertilizer for like tomato plants, you know. You can dose phosphates for that. And nitrates, same type of principle here with the coral. We missed the power head. There we go. On the frag systems today, I'm just going to siphon out some of the detritus. I don't want to take out too much once again because of the phosphates being so low. That's not the purpose of this water change today. Usually, that's how I try to lower my phosphates, but since we're at 0, I'm just doing some polishing on the tanks. We're going to start with this is all soft coral, my soft propagation tank. We're just going to siphon some of the sand bed in this one today. We are not doing a deep cleaning on these systems. You can just see the detritus go up the tube from the sand bed. I like getting visual feedback like that I'm actually doing something, making a difference. For some reason, this tank in this system really collects the detritus. I don't know if it's because of the fish or how it's plumbed, but I really try to make sure I siphon the sand bed on this system at least once a week, because for whatever reason it really collects a lot of gunk. You'll see in the water here when I dump it. There we go. Couldn't get the siphon to go. I just covered him in sand. We're gonna have to fix that. see, where did I put my turkey baster? I just covered these rocks in sand, so I want to go ahead and just blow them off real gently. Let's empty this bucket. I get my workout on the weekends picking up 5-gallon buckets of water, that's for sure. All right, let's just keep siphoning. I think I'm just going to take these trays of pallies out so I can get down here underneath and get all that gunk out. So I'm just going to put a towel down and set them on the desk for a minute. I think it's just going to be easier to take them out for a minute. These are our bleached out Passiliporas. They are pretty much completely white. So they're trying to get healthy again. All right. Yeah, now I can, you see all that detritus down there. I can get down in here and suck it out now. That's what we want to get out, is all that gunk down there. It just likes to collect under the frag racks. This aquarium's kind of like a catch-all too. The way it's plumbed, it kind of catches everything from the other tanks in the system, which I think is kind of a good thing, because then I can come in here and just kind of suck it out, get it all, and get most of it in one tank. Little tip for you guys: occlude your end here in the tank, occlude your end here, pull the hose out, it's still full of water. And you can reposition and go to another aquarium and put your hose back in and start the siphon automatically. That way you don't have to suck on the end of the hose again. Okay. And get our frag tanks up here. We'll be in pretty good shape. Finish this up before the 2-hour mark for sure. I just knocked the snail down. I need to go through and work on aptasia again. Oh, just sucked up a starfish. I'm going to have to get my starfish out of the bucket. Let's see. Filter socks, yeah. I almost forgot to put our trays back. Oh, I'm dropping corals on the ground now. Oh, it's a snail. Dropped a snail on the ground. See? All right, let's get these guys back in. This is a whole tray of Palithoas. Okay. Got those guys back in. Check my bucket for, always check your buckets I got a starfish in this one. I'm going to drop him in our anemone tank down here because I don't have a lot of detrivores in here yet. And I got a snail in here too. All right. There's another one in there. Forgot to turn my ATO off. I got 2 starfish in this one too. I know a lot of people get rid of these Astrina starfish, but I like them. We got Euphilia out of the water. Oh no. Okay. I actually think we're ready to turn the flow back on and fill it back up. Let's I'm gonna check on my flow. Sometimes these power heads don't kick back on when I plug them in, and I gotta jump start them because they're old. That one's on. That one's on. Every time I don't check them all, I always leave one off. All right, that one's on. Okay, plug our skimmer back in. You can see our water levels dropped about 3 inches. So my ATO will actually tell me when this light comes on. I'll know exactly, I have enough water in the system. I'll know exactly when to stop. The garden hose takes a while, but it's better than carrying 5 gallons of 5-gallon buckets of water everywhere. Gives me a chance to sit down and take a break. So just while we're sitting here, I'm not going to mess with my protein skimmer yet because the water level isn't where it needs to be. You always want to make sure that your water level is correct before you adjust your protein skimmer, because it affects the level of the micro bubbles in the chamber. I didn't think we took that much water out. Maybe about 15 gallons worth, 15 or 20, which this is a 400-gallon system, so it's not a ton. We're almost there. Yeah, as the water level in the sump rises, the micro bubbles are rising up in the skimmer. I shouldn't have to touch it. It should be adjusted already. All right, ATO set, water level's good. We are good to go there. Let's fill our ATO back up. I don't think I'm going to mess with the anemone tank at all today. Okay, I think we're down to filter socks. And filter socks and pre-filters. Get one there. And what do we need? 3? Yep, we need 3 for down here. All right. I feel like I say this every week because I probably do. Just always turn your filter socks inside out for several reasons. One, when you put them in the washing machine, it will clean them better. And two, if you don't turn them inside out, you'll never find all the critters that get stuck in these things. So you want to pick all your snails out and your starfish and anything good that you want to keep. This one's being a pain in the butt. All right. So yeah, if you don't turn your filter socks inside out, you'll be throwing away good stuff. We got some bristle worms here, fireworms. We don't want them. So yeah, just make sure you turn your socks inside out so you don't throw away anything good. I did have an issue with stray voltage in this aquarium, like pretty bad. Every time I'd stick my finger in the sump here, I'd get shocked, and it kept getting worse. It worked its way up to the aquariums. Which I'm assuming is not good for your coral or fish if they're getting shocked. It was actually in this tank here. I found an old power head that was leaking a lot of stray voltage into the system. So I pulled it out and threw it away. But you can use a little, like a voltmeter, to test the current in the water. You don't want to be getting shocked every time you stick your fingers in the tank. I know I don't. Yeah, these little, I don't know if they're 3-inch, 4-inch, whatever filter socks are kind of a pain to turn inside out. People ask me all the time when I wash these, I throw in, a splash of bleach with them. It helps clean them and get rid of the smell, and bleach is actually 100% safe to use in a reef aquarium. Hang on, not in the aquarium. It is safe to use on filter socks. I do 2 rinses in the wash cycle. And then as the socks dry, all the bleach, it evaporates. That's how bleach works. So the bleach will evaporate and it won't leave any residue to get back into the aquarium. So yes, bleach in moderation is safe to use. I use it to clean all my filter socks. And then I did have my Chemi Pure running. It's probably about time to swap it out. But I just throw it in this sock here, and then the water runs through it. All right. On to the next one. So this is what filter socks do. They collect all this gunk. There's that one. We got some bristle worms in here. For some reason, this sump, I mean, it works, but I've never been super happy with how the water flows in, and it might be, I might need to take my return pump apart and clean it. I think some of the flow's gotten restricted. I should actually probably upgrade to a bigger pump. But they're not cheap, and it's running fine, so we'll keep it just like this for now. All right. I added this protein skimmer to the quarantine system here, and it works, but it kind of makes it hard to change this sock out in the back. That's one of the disadvantages of working with sumps, is usually they're kind of cramped, hard to get into. But I really think sumps are beneficial for aquariums for multiple reasons. If you got the room for them, you can really increase your filtration game running the sump. They can be used for a lot of stuff. Refugiums. They all have their purposes. Different methods of filtration. All right. Yeah, just got my light in the water. I'm sure that's good for it. All right. Like I said, that one's a pain to get to, but you got to do what you got to do. Let's empty this protein skimmer real quick while we got it. Ooh, that stinks. All right. This is a very old protein skimmer. It's a dinosaur. But it still works. Why change something if it works? Okay. I think we just got to do our pre-filters and our overflow boxes and be in good shape. I can turn this pump off. We're done with it. This is one of the best parts about this hose too, is the automatic reel. Just makes cleanup super easy. Ah, I messed it up. Now I gotta take it all back out. That's user error. All right, let's try this again. All right, there we go. It really doesn't get any easier than that. And then it's all ready to go for next time. All right, I need 2 pre-filters for the main tank. I like using the big ones. Here's the problem with washing these things with your filter socks. You got to pick out all this lint, which I don't like. I really should be washing these separate. All right. Set that there. And I'll just throw the old ones in with the filter socks and give them a wash. Oh, I can't get it. It's stuck. There we go. Look how dirty that one is. I'm going to have to clean this off a little bit. This thing's filthy. Okay. We got 3 or 4 of them back here to get. Yeah. Must be close to noon. Lights are starting to kick on. This one's a pain in the butt to get to. You guys are going to watch me drop my phone in the tank here one of these days. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of time. I can't get this one in. There we go. I think I got it. All right, turn this light on. These are just some pallies down here attaching to some rocks. I think I put them in about a week ago. About another week they should be attached, and then I can glue them to some frag plugs. Let's get this one here. That's why I change these out like once a week. They get pretty nasty real quick. They're doing their job. Okay. And then we got two. We got one here on the soft tank. That one's pretty dirty too. That's a week's worth. And then our last one should be on the anemone tank here. These are all RBTA anemones. They're not too impressive when the light's off. Looks like I need to get in here and scrub some of this algae out of this overflow box. All right. I'll take all these upstairs to get washed. I think I'm going to wash towels today. Yeah, I'm real big on trying to keep the glass clean inside and out. I think keeping the glass clean is important for, I mentioned it before, several reasons. One, it's a lot nicer to look at coral in aquariums when there's clean glass and you can actually see it. And what that does is if you have dirty glass, you can't really inspect your coral and notice when something goes wrong, you know. So keeping clean glass keeps you happy enjoying your aquariums, and then it helps you to keep a better eye on your corals. It's easier to spot pests or any disease starting, any like tissue receding, anything like that. All right. This is our Euphilia tank, so this is all hammer coral right now. Should have some torches coming in soon. Ooh, we're going to move this guy here. If you take a look, this Pocillopora, he got all pushed up onto these pallies when we were moving these trays out, which means they're going to sting each other. They're going to fight each other. We don't want that. There we go. That's better. That way they're not touching. They're not stinging each other. All right. I bet we're about to overflow our RODI. Yeah. Shut that off. Let's go collect the rest of our towels. There's all our filter socks and pre-filters we're going to give a wash. Yeah, I need to adjust the light on this side so that it kicks on at the same time. It's out of sync. Okay. So our sand bed definitely is cleaner. That's what we wanted to do. Siphon it really good today, and we did. So that's looking better. The growth on this Monopora here is just exploding. Like he's probably a good 1.5 feet across, maybe about almost 2 feet. So the coral's really starting to take off here. This Pocillopora is about 1 foot wide. All right, guys, I think we got it think we got all our work knocked out for this morning. We were able to keep it under 2 hours. So I appreciate everybody that stopped by. I appreciate everybody that was hanging out with me today while I worked. And I will see you guys on the next one. Have a great day.